Hello, everyone. My guest today is Albert Santalo. He's a computer scientist and internet entrepreneur experienced in building high growth venture backed technology companies. He's the founder and CEO of 8base and formerly founded CareCloud and Avicenna. Albert, you ready to take us to the top?
Hey, how are you, Nathan?
I'm well, man. So, what are you working on now? What is 8base?
8base is a platform that accelerates the development of what we would call professional grade software. That's either used typically by founders, especially non-technical founders, or by larger companies in their digital transformation efforts.
Now, is this a no-code, low-code sort of play, or are you an agency that's building stuff for folks?
It's sort of a combination of the two. So it's a low-code approach, and I want to focus on low-code, meaning that it is a product used by developers. The idea is, though, that you can build comprehensive products. It's not something you have to throw away. And the focus is on the back end. So the low-code platform primarily is on the back end side, all delivered through a very powerful API. And then most of the time, our customers are building front ends that consume the back end. But we also, as a services company, we also do that work for customers as well. So sometimes we do full stack development on top of our low-code platform for customers.
For people that hear this interview and say, I just want to use the platform and not pay for services, how can they use the platform? What's the model?
Yeah, so they can go to 8base.com. They can sign in, begin using it. They never have to talk to us. They can start using it for free, but they can also, the paid use starts at $25 a month and it scales up from there. They get a fair amount of capacity with that $25 a month.
Measured by what?
By storage, API calls, serverless invocations. So think of it as utilization of the different aspects of the platform. And then number of developers. So the $25 plan is for a solo developer, and then it scales up from there.
Of those three sort of ways that you can upsell customers and drive expansion revenue, which one's most powerful? People hit the developer limit the fastest, the API call limit the fastest, or the storage limit the fastest?
Which you're saying, which one do they hit the fastest?
In other words, your ability to drive enterprise accounts and move from $25 a month to 50 to 100 to up, you've put these things in place to make people upgrade. Storage limits, API calls, etc. Which one of those is the most powerful for driving upsell revenue?
It's usually things like continuous integration. Like you at the $25 plan, you're not using CI/CD capabilities. Again, it's solo developers. So once you're in a team configuration, it goes up from there.
Got it. So unlock continuous integration tools when people pay you more.
Yeah, things that larger organizations, or we call it more established organizations, are going to want.
I see. Okay. And again, it's still ignoring services revenue. We'll get to that in a second. If you just look at folks that are using either your free tool or not free, sorry, they're paying you for your to use your platform, but not talk to you. On average, what are these customers paying per month, would you say? Is it the $25 a month?
Yeah, I would say on average, it's higher than that. Because we have, on some of those developer plans, we have $200 a month type users. We also have larger, like we have agencies that use the product. Some of those are paying in the thousands. One of those is IBM Global Services, actually uses 8base for work they're doing in Europe. Mm-hmm. So, they're all over the place, right?
I know averages are unfair for this reason, but because it's a short interview, I try and hyper focus it. What if I forced you sort of into an average? Is $1,000 a month better than 25 a month, or where's your sweet spot?
No, I'd say in the developer channel, it's probably, the developer and sort of self-service channels, probably $100 a month.
Got it. So it's usually like a 2-person development team sort of thing, a little bit more API usage, but not like an IBM of the world.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. What's your backstory here? When did you launch the company?
2017. I've been a founder in the lead role since 2001. I'm an engineer by background, but in all of my companies, I've been the product designer, but not the developer. And, my last company raised over $100 million of venture money. And
Which company was that?
CareCloud.
Yeah.
And, I just felt like we could build these products faster, better, cheaper. There was a platform opportunity. And I just felt like, founders should be given the opportunity to bootstrap more, own more of their companies, and retain control. And that's never going to happen if you have to raise $100 million.
I was going to say, I'm looking at the funding rounds right now on CareCloud, $186 million raised, 10 investors. I'm looking at the people going, my gosh, the dilution must be not so pretty over time. But you argue it's a much bigger pie.
Yeah. And but that kind of money brings a lot of risk.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
It's not for everybody, not for every founder, for sure.
So what was the break? This company looks like it's still going today. So you made the decision at some point to say enough is enough. I'm going to leave and build this. What was the breaking point for you?
Yeah, so both of my prior companies are still around. They've both been acquired. So for me, it was in 2016, leaving the day-to-day and wanting to pursue this. 8base was something that was on my mind for at least 15 years. And so I felt like the time was right. The cloud-based platforms had come of age. The market was starting to recognize that low code was actually a thing.
Yep.
And I felt like the technology stacks had stabilized to the point where we could do this and that I could bootstrap it. So I also just, for 8base, I just didn't want to raise a huge amount of venture money.
So you're bootstrapped today?
Yeah, we're you could call it relative bootstrapping. We've raised $3.5 million. It's all been from angels and seed funds.
Well, come on, Albert, you can't. This is very binary. You either raised $1 of funding or you haven't. It's not like a middle. So you have raised, but you feel like you're not on the track of like, oh my gosh, we raised $186 million. We better double year over year, or we're going to go to zero.
Yeah, no, I mean, compared to how much money I've raised before and how that's gone, this is very different. Mm-hmm. Very different. Besides the fact that the company's profitable, so we don't need money.
That's great. What's the team size today?
It's about 30 people.
And can you sort of give me the breakdown there? How many are engineers?
Engineers is probably 20 to 22.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what the rest? Any quota carrying sales reps?
Yes, we have one quota carrying sales rep, and we have myself and another person not quota carrying sales reps. That
surprises me. So there is a sales motion here at a high enough ACV where it does make sense to put a sales rep sort of touch on it.
Oh, 100%. Especially, and this is recent. I would tell you there's two things. The services side certainly has a high enough ACV to have salespeople. Okay. But the other thing is that some of these platform opportunities in these larger companies, these are multi-$100,000 deals, right? They can be 7-figure deals. So that's not going to happen with marketing efforts on the website, right?
You can't just swipe a credit card on a website and close $1 million?
Man, I wish we could.
You and me both, and I want a piece. I get 2%. All right. That makes sense. So just to understand too, the nature of like SaaS versus your service business, it sounds like they're both material potentially. If you just add up all your revenue over the past 12 months, how much would you say is service sort of revenue versus low touch software revenue?
Yeah. So those percentages are changing, but call it 20% platform, 80% services. But the idea is that the service revenue feeds the beast in lieu of venture capital while we build up the recurring platform revenue. The margins on the service side are pretty good, but obviously not as good as recurring revenue, platform revenue, right? So, but, if I'm having a conversation with a VC about this, it's like, look, we get it. The service side, not as scalable, but we are innovating in our services group so that we can do things in a more scalable way. There are technologies that we're using there and that are evolving to make things go really fast, really consistent, and be able to handle a lot of projects at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, you answered my question before I asked it, right? Which is VCs will hit software founders all the time for any services revenue because they want the founder to be reliant on VC money and dilution for extra cash, not closing services deals that have less margin. But ultimately, what you and I know is that sometimes when you put high touch in the form of a service contract on a smaller SaaS plan, the net retention on that SaaS plan goes through the roof because you did so much great work onboarding and customizing for the client.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, it's extraordinary. We have a really fun business. One of the things I really love doing, my passion is building these products, and it allows me to get involved and sort of lead the design of them. And then my team just does an amazing job building them, and all of our customers are really happy.
That's great.
So, but a VC would tell you, man, the services side, it's a lot of work, and I would tell them, managing you is a lot of work.
Fair enough. I love that. And you can say that because you've sort of walked that walk already.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. I say that jokingly. I have lots of friends who are VCs. We even have some, call it seed fund venture capital investors.
Yep.
But I think you know what I'm trying to say, right?
I get it.
There are Series A and after entanglements, which I would much rather avoid if I can.
No, I hear you. Okay, so 2017, you get going on this thing. How many customers are you serving today on sort of the software side?
On the platform side?
Yeah.
Man, it's like somewhere approaching 1,000 or so.
Okay, and are they dependent on each other? Can someone pay you just for services and not platform? Or I know they can do just platform.
That is a great question. So we only get involved when we're using our platform.
Okay, yes. So if IBM pays you $1 million for a service contract, they have to sign a subscription plan as well on the back end of that.
They do. And in IBM's case, by the way, there is no service revenue. It's only platform.
I see.
So they have their own team of developers that have built on 8base without our help on the services side.
I see.
But an example would be, like for instance, we have some founders in Austin that we've built their product, right? And so they run on the 8base platform, and we did the development work to build on top of it. They paid us a service fee, but then they pay us monthly recurring revenue for the platform.
It's not easy to get to 1,000 customers, especially when it's a DevOps sort of sale, right? Walk me through how you got your first 10 customers back in 2017.
So we've done a little bit of call it experimentation. So when we first launched the platform, we launched it for free, and we launched it for developers. So we tried to go sort of bottoms up developers. And then along the way said, look, this is great, but it's not really a business, even after we launched the paywall.
Which was when?
The paywall was last summer, late, probably about a little over a year ago, or about a year ago. And we just realized, look, developers we want developers to love the platform. We want them to support it. We want them to bless it. But B2B is really where the money is. And I'm not the type of CEO founder that founds an open source company. For me, nothing wrong with it. It's just not me, right? And so for me, I got to have a commercial business. And when we're talking to developers, it's one sort of conversation. When we're talking to business owners, especially like I said, non-technical founders, they just absolutely love what we bring. Because we bring a platform built for them that can hyperscale if they're successful. They never have to rebuild the product. They're talking to people that have built digital products used by millions of people, funded by hundreds of millions of dollars of Silicon Valley money. And we come in, we step in. We typically are more well qualified than a CTO that they could get at their stage. And we take them to the next level, at which point they can take back the software development or keep us engaged.
Well, so when you launched the paywall in 2019, did you have to go out and recruit non-technical people inside of SaaS founders with budget for this? Or did you try and convert some of your free developer base into paid customers first? Yeah.
It was more, the paywall was directed at developers.
Okay, so did they convert or did they not convert? It sounds like they didn't.
Yeah, they did. Some did. But it's not, look, at $25 a month, right? And again, it's freemium. It's not a free trial. At $25 a month, you're just not going to get there without tens of millions of dollars of venture money.
That's right. Yeah. So how many freemium did you have before you launched the paywall?
That I don't remember that.
Okay, like thousands or hundreds of thousands?
No. It would be between 1,000, 2,000 probably.
Okay, got it. So 1 to 2K using for free, which also, by the way, that is not easy even to build up that sort of wait list or freemium usage base. So you launched the paywall for $25 in 2019. You realized you have to do this in massive volumes to get any sort of scale. And then, so when did you start thinking about the higher price stuff?
We were already there. So when we launched the product, even in 2018, our first B2B client showed up saying, hey, we really love what you have and we love your capabilities, but we want you to build the product. And so we decided at that point, let's take the deal. And we did the work. We got paid well for it. And the outcome was phenomenal. We had good margins. The client was really happy.
Albert, what's well? Are we talking like a $50,000 sort of type deal or more?
And that deal was a $200K deal.
Okay, got it. I mean, there seems to be nice margin there.
Yeah, complex product. So this is a multi-tenant SaaS
Okay.
appliance management product, a very complex product. But yes, there was decent margins there, and our margins got better as we sold more of those deals. So sometimes we do smaller deals than that for sure, but we also do larger ones.
So
And
that company that you did the $200,000 sort of setup for all that initial work, what do they now pay in sort of the low touch platform model, every month?
a customer like that is probably at about $500 a month.
I see. Okay, good. Interesting.
Well, yeah, but what they get, the way to think about it is they can operate with no technical people. It's DevOps free, and it scales automatically for them if the need comes.
And Albert, I'm hoping you're going to blow me out of the freaking water here. They don't churn, because if they churn, they essentially lose 200 grand worth of investment they made initially, right?
No, they first of all, we haven't had churn, but they can churn. And I'm proud of the fact that they can, because one of the things you'll see is that we built everything in 8base is built with standards. So it's not like they can just export and go to the next thing, but their code is written in JavaScript or TypeScript. Okay. They're using React or Vue.js or whatever framework on the front end. Their data's in MySQL. One of the big innovations inside of 8base is the GraphQL API. GraphQL is a standard. Most, the GraphQL APIs that exist out there, or the engines that exist, are not as powerful as ours, but nonetheless, with a little bit of retrofitting, it could work. And then there's other things that are inherent in the platform, like role-based security and things like that. But the idea is that we're not like Salesforce, right? Where we're like trying to lock somebody in with proprietary languages and all sorts of exotic things. We're basically saying, look, if you want to leave, you can leave. But the idea is, why would you ever want to?
Yeah.
Right. And the other part of that is you don't need specialized developers. Like I'll give you an example. If you build on Bubble, right? Bubble's a great platform, but if you ever need to get off of it because it's not scaling or whatever, you're gonna have to rebuild the whole thing.
You compete with Bubble?
Indirectly. They do more of the front end development, but and certainly some people will build their products on Bubble. But what we find is that, there comes a point where it just doesn't scale for them. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Like they've got the IP related to what they built and what it looks like, but it needs to be built from scratch again somewhere else.
Yeah. That's bubble.io. Interesting. Okay. So 1,000 customers on sort of your platform approach. You mentioned earlier in ARPU of call it $100. Have you guys broken that $100,000 a month target at this point, or if not, when?
On the recurring side?
Just platform. I know you do a lot more on services.
Yeah, we're like almost there.
That's great. So this year, you think you'll pass it?
If we didn't have a pandemic, I'd say yes, but God will.
Okay. All right. Fair.
We're just really getting the flywheel going on sales, so I'm really excited about that piece of it. All of my companies have had very high velocity sales force before, and we truthfully started this company with more of a marketing cadence. But I'm really excited about just turning the flywheel on the sales side.
Help me understand the flag. Again, we're only talking platform here, so all listeners understand there is an agency kind of service model here that makes a lot of money in cash flow. But just on the platform play, right? So if you're caught around 60, 70, 80, right, a month today, where were you exactly a year ago on that?
Oh my God, we were a year ago. Man, we were like nowhere on that. Like very,
like how much?
Almost at zero.
Like not even $3 or $4 grand a month?
Maybe something like that.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So, nice scale there, right? What's changed from a year ago for you to add 50, 60 grand in new MRR on the platform side?
I would say founder-led sales, tweaks to the paywall, and driving, that developer channel a little harder. But, a lot of it has been sort of founder-led sales. So now
and you're profitable today, right?
Yeah.
Got it. Have you already invested the $3.5 million, or is that sort of sitting in the bank?
Some has been used. Some is sitting in the bank.
The reason I'm asking is obviously everyone changes plans with COVID. You want to sort of save more and have a longer runway. How are you thinking about that relative to your cash position?
I love that question. So the way I'm looking at that is you got to lean in harder on sales. So I'm actually increasing investment on sales and marketing.
Meaning you're hiring people or launching Facebook ads or what?
It's a little bit of hiring people. It's doing different types of marketing campaigns, different types of marketing spend. But absolutely, we're leaning into it in terms of we're not becoming more austere. We're being conservative about spending that is not core to either product innovation or sales.
Makes sense. Okay, last question here. I just realized we're out of time. Before we wrap up, what is gross churn right now on a monthly basis, on a revenue monthly basis?
Oh my God, it's almost non-existent.
Okay, so you truly have. I mean, I want to make sure we're not like just spouting. You really have 0% revenue churn per month across 1,000 customers paying about $100 a month.
Yeah, no. So there is some churn on the developer side. Usually it happens early, and usually it happens in the free tier, right? So it's like if you look
ignore free. I'm talking revenue churn. Revenue churn.
We had, like, for instance, the first time we ever had somebody dispute a credit card transaction, I heard about it for the first time 2 days ago on my daily stand-up call. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, and I don't know why the guy disputed it, because we would have just given him his money back, right? But
I'm not talking about just credit card disputes. I mean, some people will try your platform, they'll pay $100 for a month, and then they'll leave because it wasn't fit for them. Like, that's what I'm asking, right? Is like, what is revenue churn look like on a monthly basis? It sounds like it's pretty low.
It's less than 1%.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, got it. So less than 12% annually on that, which actually it's pretty impressive for that price point.
You think so? Okay.
No, not I think so. I mean, I can compare it to 2,000 other SaaS CEOs I've interviewed. At that price point, that churn is extremely low. Usually in that cohort, you're seeing churn that's 20, 30% annually, 3% a month.
Part of it could be that by the time they're paying, they've truly sort of kicked the tires on the product, because the free tier is pretty good. Mm-hmm. The free tier, what the main thing it doesn't do is it throttles the API.
Yep.
So you can use the full product. It's just when do you want to open up the API?
What's the limit? How many API calls a month on the free tier?
I think it's how many, if I remember correctly, it's how many API calls sequentially you can do. I think it throttles every 10.
Got it. Yeah, your free tier. I'm reading off your pricing page here. 1,000 per month GraphQL API calls, 1,000 database rows, or 1,000 per month. Sort of. You have actually a lot of utility-based upsells. 500 MB in base storage, 10 gigabyte minutes for serverless execution requests. Like, all these things drive people to upgrade.
That's right.
Yeah. Developers.
When you look at what they get at 25. At 25, it's super generous.
It's like 10. It's massive. I could easily see why people go up for that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So there's like, if you're a small team of developers, you can do a hell of a lot with that $25 tier.
You can. Yep. No, I understand that. Very cool. All right, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, Albert, what's your favorite business book?
Oh my God, that's a moving target. Right now it's Blitz Scaling.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
CEO I'm following or studying. There's a bunch of those. I would say, look, Elon Musk is certainly somebody I really respect a lot, but I'm not trying to follow his playbook right now.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building your company besides your own?
That may also be a moving target. Right now we're messing around with Apollo.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep are you getting every night?
7 to 8.
Okay. And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
Married and kids.
How many?
4.
Wives? No, just kidding. All right, four kids. And how old are you, Albert?
How old am I? I'm 52.
52. Last question. What do you wish you knew when you were 20?
What do I wish I was doing when I was 20?
No, something you wish you knew when you were 20.
Oh my God. I would say that, fortune favors the bold. That you have to, you just got to put yourself in the game, go after it, and good things will happen.
Guys, there you have it. 8base, helping power professional grade applications in a low code sort of format. 20% of their revenue is pure SaaS right now, 80% services, but it's highly productized service. The pure platform play is growing and hopefully will break $1 million run rate here, middle of this year, late this year. But again, they power a lot of their growth from their high margin services revenue, consulting contracts in the $200,000 sort of range. They've funded the company $3.5 million raised, but they are profitable today. Team of, call it 30 people, 22 engineers. Albert scales this bad boy down there in Miami. Albert, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks so much, Nathan.